I'm testing the tubeless setup. Yeah, so stay tuned right till the end, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do depending on the kind of use that you have for your bike. Hi everyone, I'm Rajiv. Welcome back, and I'm finally here with an update on the tubeless conversion that I'd done a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to tell you about the pros, the cons, the things to watch out for, and one mistake that I made which I rectified so that you don't make the same mistake and have a problem. Stay tuned. So I'm going to start off with telling you about the things to watch out for before you do the tubeless conversion, because it could cause you some problems later. I made a note, so I'm going to read it out while I tell you about it. So the first thing to look out is rim rust. So the rims that Hero has given us are of very average quality. They tend to rust. When I had opened my tires, the rims were a bit rusted inside. A friend of mine had some undulations inside his rim, so it was causing punctures on the inside of his tube. So before you do the conversion, when you open your tires, ensure that you sand down the rims completely, make the guy do it, clean it with fuel, and then maybe better is if you put a coating, some sort of anti-rust coating or a powder coating inside, and it'll be absolutely fine. So that's the first thing that you need to watch out for. The second thing, now this is a mistake that I had done while installing the tube on the front tire, right? When we put the tube and we cut the tube, we put the tire on. Uh, One mistake that we did was we pulled the tire too much. Sorry, we pulled the tube that we had cut too much from one side while cutting it. So what happened was one part of the tube which was covering the rim was narrower. So while the whole tube was say about 3 inches in width, 3 or 4 inches in width, one side was maybe less than 2 inches. Now that happened because when we pulled the tube, we cut it, it held on to the tire, but because it stretches, it stretched back in. Now that's a problem that I had. After some days I lost air. I opened it to check. I thought it's a puncture, so I opened it to check what was the issue. But it turned out that the tube that was covering the rim from one side was very narrow, and that was a mistake that we had done. So nothing to worry about. We just got another tube. I put another tube and we cut it properly this time. It worked absolutely fine. So just watch out when you're pulling the tube to cut it after filling air. Don't stretch it out. Just hold it and cut it, and you're going to be absolutely fine. That's point number two. One observation that I think will help when you install the tube after cutting it on the bike, right? Ensure that you install a tube which is 2 to 3 inches smaller. While I've got a 17-inch tube on a 16, sorry, on an 18-inch rim at the back, I have no issues. But there could be problems of it moving sometimes. I don't know. I've not had that problem, but it could be an issue. So ensure that you install a smaller tube so it's very tight and it sticks on the rim completely when you install it. What you could also do is in certain places around the bead, you could probably put some kind of glue or solution which will stick the tube to the rim. I have not done it. I've had no problems. I've ridden this bike about 500 kilometers. I just went for a ride last weekend and I banged the bike out. I ripped it. I did about 150, 116 kilometers per hour. I went on bad roads, potholes. I had no issues at all. Right. So those are things you should watch out for. Now let's start with the pros and cons. We'll start with the pros and then we'll go to the cons. And I'll also tell you who should not go in for a conversion like this. Okay, coming to the pros. The first one is it's a very easy process, right? You go to any tire guy, or if you have the skills of removing a wheel and tire, you can even do it on your own. It's something that anyone can do anyway. If they see the video, anyone can replicate the process. The second pro is it is extremely affordable. I mean, I spent about 1,500 bucks, including the cost of the tires and labor. If you do it someplace else, it could be cheaper depending on the amount of labor you pay. Or you can just buy the tubes yourself and do it, right? So it's an extremely cheap and affordable process. It's easy to replace if something goes wrong. Now, let's say if, God forbid, you have a crash, you bend a rim, whatever happens, right? You just buy a new rim and it's going to be very easy and cheap to replace because you're just going to get a tube, put the tube, cut it, install your tire, and that's about it. So it's going to be very easy to replace and cheap to replace. The spokes, important, right? From time to time, our bikes or any bike that has spoke wheels needs some kind of adjustment to the spokes. Spokes are, the spokes get loose, you need to tighten them. You may have a wheel out. So if in case you need to do something like that, this is going to be very simple. Why? You remove the wheel, you remove the tire, the tube which is on the rim, you can just lift it up, remove it, tighten your spokes, align the wheel and put it back, or just buy a new tube for 500, 450, 500 bucks, put it back and you're going to be sorted.
right? And obviously the last thing is the punchers on the go. You can just plug your puncher wherever you are on the go. Someone asked me about wobble. Does this kind of a setup give you wobble? Frankly, I took it up to about 100. I'll just put the clip after this. I took the bike up to 100 kilometers hour, left the handlebars. There was no wobble, right? So I had no issues with that at all. So that is sorted.
Okay, we are at about 100 and no wobble, right? So it's fine.
All right, so if you're someone who's going to do hardcore off-road riding, when I say hardcore off-road riding, I mean proper enduro trail riding where you're banging the bike on boulders and rocks, and what say you, where you need to reduce your air pressure to go over off-road patches, a tubeless conversion is not for you, right? So no matter where you are in the world, no matter what bike you ride, if you're doing hardcore off-road, stick to tube tires. All right, coming to the cons, there are always cons no matter what you do, no matter how much money you spend, no matter what bike you buy. There are always cons, but it's important for you to know what those cons are. So as I mentioned earlier, if you're doing hardcore off-road riding, stick to tube tires because that's what you need. If you go tubeless, you're going to bend the rim and you're going to lose all your air and you're going to be stranded in the middle of nowhere. So stick to tube tires if you're a hardcore off-road rider. As I mentioned, rim rusting issues can cause a tube puncture. So again, this setup is using a tube that has been cut, right? So if you have rim rusting, if there are undulations and the covering, the tube that you use to cover your rim, that can get punctured from inside. So as I mentioned earlier, before you do the setup, when you remove your tire, ensure that the guy takes sandpaper or a machine and sands down the rim, takes out all the rust, cleans it well with fuel, and if possible, do a coating for something that will save you from rust. There are many coatings available in the market. You can just use them, and you'll be sorted. And of course, tighten your spokes before you do that. uh, Mentioned if you bend your rim, you're going to lose air. So that's another con in this. Again, you may not be doing hardcore riding, but in any bike, even my Adventure 390, right? If I'm riding at an extremely high speed, I go in a pothole and my rim bends, I'm going to lose air. So that's another con that tubeless setups have. uh, Chances that it could move. Okay, very rare chances. A friend of mine has done this on his Bear 650, and I got the idea from him, Biker Baker Vivek. You can check out his channel, right? So he's had no issues. I've had no issues at all, just with the mistake that I made, but I rectified that. Yeah, but cons. At the end, it's just a tube on top. There are slight chances it could move. So just be careful of that. As I mentioned, if you can, at certain places, use silicone or some kind of glue to stick the tube to the rim and you'll be sorted, or use a tighter tube. You need to maintain your air pressure. Now, in terms of what the company recommends, right, for the tube setup, I think the manual says 44 psi at the back and 22 at the front. That's for the tube setup. Now, when you run a tubeless setup, your pressure needs to be higher. So on my ADV, I maintain personally about 31 at the back and 29 in the front because I always usually have a pillion at the back. On this, I maintained about 44 to 46 at the back, and in the front, I maintained about 27. So there were no issues at all. I had a lovely ride, a blast of a ride, nothing. There was no pressure change and nothing at all. But yes, you need to maintain your air pressure because if the pressure goes very low, right? I mean, it's possible that on a bad road or something, you could lose air and your tire could come off the rim as any tubeless tire. So just be careful of that. The last thing, I don't think is necessary, but I think it's pretty important to use tubeless tires. And when you use tubeless tires, go for good tires. So I'll tell you why I'm thinking about that. Now, when I was testing this out, and I was ripping the bike, right? So there were obviously many times when I had to do hard braking because of some crap coming in the way. I lost traction a couple of times, and the ABS kicked in, right? So obviously, I'm not going to compare it with my Adventure 390 because I run Metzeller's on that, and those tires are in the league of their own. They cost as much as well, but in case you're planning to do a tubeless conversion, I would say change the stock tires are crap. So just change the stock tires. I've seen a pair of Apollos. I'll just mention that in the description. If you want, you can look at it and you can use that. Right. So, I mean, those are the things that I noticed in the last 3 weeks. When I uploaded the video last time, it was already 1 week since I'd done the conversion, and another 2 weeks I've been testing it. So I'll keep giving you all updates. Now there's one more thing. So this is one update that I've done. Some people ask me to, what are the other options? So other option is you can probably do a way to speed conversion. There's a way to speed kit that comes which you put on the wheel. So it's not too expensive. I think it's about 7,500. So I'll do one thing. I'll try that as well. I'll make a video on that. It's proven a lot of riders are using it. Some people have some issues, but I think it may be better than this. I'm not sure. I mean, there's no price comparison. This is 1,500. That's going to be 7,500, right? But I'll do one thing. I'll do that as well. I'll put a video of that as well, and I'll give you the pros and cons, and then we'll do a comparison between both the systems. The one which costs 1,500 rupees and the way to speed which costs 7,500 rupees, and then you can make your choice based on the budget you have, right? So I mean 1,500 is literally nothing. If something goes wrong, replace it. I mean, it shouldn't go wrong. But let's see. So I'll do the way to speed next. I'll make a video on that. I'll tell you all about it, and then we'll make a comparison between both the conversions, the one with using the tube sliced and the way to speed. We'll see the pros and cons, and if that is giving you more value for the cost that they're charging you compared to this, which is just 1,500 rupees, right? So that's coming up next. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining me. I think you can go in for this. It's value for money. It's worth it, but just ensure that you do the conversion properly. So when you're installing the tube, as I said, go in for a tight tube which fits on the rim. And again, very important, when you're cutting the tube after installing the tire, don't pull and cut, because it will stretch and you'll stretch back in and you lose air. So keep it as it is, just hold it and cut it. You'll be sorted and absolutely fine, right? So it's working great. 3 weeks, no problems, no air loss, nothing at all. I'm happy with it. But going ahead, I'm going to do the way to speed. I'll make a video on that just for you. Spend some money of my own, but ठीक है, मजा आता है यार. I like doing these things. I mean, it's good fun, right? So I enjoy it. So if you guys can benefit from that, why not, right? So coming up next, stay tuned. Maybe about another 2 odd weeks. If I get time, I'll go to HTD Customs and drop the bike tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll go next week and drop the bike. It's going to take a few days to do that, right? So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Ride hard, ride safe. Don't be a squid. There's someone waiting for you at home. Signing off.